Hey there, welcome to School of Emo, the podcast where we dive into the world of emo, pop punk, and everything in between. If you've ever found yourself in your car screaming the lyrics to Taking Back Sunday, wearing way too much eyeliner in the early 2000s, adding a buckle or a chain to every outfit you've put on, you are in the right place. I'm Erin Judge, and each week I will be your fellow student, guiding you through the music, the culture, and the history that shaped an entire generation of angsty teens. I am not the teacher of this school. I am a fellow student, here to learn alongside you and from you. Together, we will cover a lot of information that doesn't really matter, but will remind us of the days of stalking MySpace channels and getting lost in chat rooms. So connect your dial-up, turn on your webcam, and let's go to School of Emo. Welcome back to School of Emo. If you can't tell by looking at me, a little bit of my background that's blurred a bit, we are talking about My Chemical Romance. And they are hot right now because of their current tour. We're going to get into the current tour, all things Black Parade, in the next episode with a special guest. But today's episode, we are going to set the stage and talk about My Chemical Romance, their history, do a bit of a deep dive, and lay the groundwork for the Black Parade tour that is currently going on. And then following our deep dive into the tour, I get to actually recap the tour because it's finally time to go and to be part of it. And I'm so incredibly excited and just ready for it, if you can't tell by my excitement here. One thing I will say, just because I'm chronically online, so if you see my face peeling, I actually got a chemical peel this week, which is very fitting for today's episode. So kind of funny how that works, but my face is literally peeling off. So if you see it, you notice it, I'm fine. I'm good. Just trying to have youthful skin because I am an elder emo. Unfortunately, it's where we are. Okay, so My Chemical Romance. We've talked about the history of emo, right? And where My Chemical Romance fits in. I think if you ask most people today who maybe haven't been in the scene, prior to the 2000s, they would say like My Chemical Romance is in what they call like the holy trinity of emo, that they would be kind of considered the biggest emo band, the most influential emo band of all time. And while I will say that My Chemical Romance did not start emo, right? Emo started in the 80s, technically even before. The history of emo goes far back, like back before My Chem. They were influenced by a lot of bands that were already starting in that emo space. But My Chemical Romance is, I do believe, in our generation, in the online world, right? In the world of virality and streaming and money and all of that, My Chemical Romance is probably the most influential emo band that exists. They influenced bands of their time and beyond, and they created such a unique culture, history, worlds for themselves that set them apart and truly influenced, I think, the bands that followed them. They took their influence from emo, punk, post-punk, the emo core, that world, but also from what was happening in the pop scene with Queen and, these people that were taking more of a theatrical, like artistic approach to their music beyond the music itself. They were influenced by that, and they blended that in a way that emo became theatrical and became fantasy driven in a way. I don't know. I'm curious what you think about it, but they are unique, and you cannot say that they aren't legends in this space because they definitely are. And they are one of the bands responsible for the popularization of emo, which, as I've mentioned many times, is the only reason most of us get to still enjoy it today. And the only reason that some of these bands, even that came before My Chem, are still able to tour and make a living in this world, because money is part of life. And when it comes to art, if there's no money funding that art, it usually dies. And My Chem found a way to stay true to their art, be honest, be vulnerable, be real, like, again, stay emo, but do it in a way that could be commercialized, and sustainable in that way. We have to start at the beginning. So go back to 2001, just days after 9/11. where Gerard Way, an art school grad who was working at Cartoon Network, witnessed the horrors of the Twin Towers being attacked across the Hudson River. He was overwhelmed by what he saw, by what he experienced, by what the world was experiencing altogether. Most of us were. And he decided that he wanted to do something different with his life. He wanted more of a purpose to the art he was creating in the world that he was part of. From an interview in Rolling Stone in 2006, reflecting back on the start, he said, "I saw something that made me feel like I needed to change my life. I didn't want to die making cartoons. I wanted to make something that mattered." So, in a basement in Newark, New Jersey, Gerard wrote Skylines and Turnstiles, which was a song about fear, trauma, and survival. He then called his brother Mikey Way, who named the band after an Irvine Welsh book that he found at Barnes and Noble, what was titled Ecstasy: Three Tales of Chemical Romance. They brought in Ray Toro on lead guitar, Frankie Arrow joining soon after, and then drummer Matt Pelissier, which was later replaced by Bob Breyer, and MCR was born. So looking at that first song, Skylines and Turnstiles, let's go through some of the lyrics. "You're not in this alone. Let me break this awkward silence. Let me go on record. Be the first to say I'm sorry. Hear me out. Well, if you take me down, or would you lay me out? And if the world needs something better, let's give them one more reason now, now, now. We walk in single file. We light our rails and punch our time. Ride escalators colder than a cell. This broken city sky, like butane on my skin, stolen from my eyes. Hello, angel, tell me where you are. Tell me where to go from here. This broken city sky, like butane on my skin, stolen from my eyes. Hello, angel, tell me where are you? Tell me where we go from here. Tell me we go from. And in this moment, we can't close the lids, burning eyes. Our memories blanket us with friends we know like fallout vapors, steel corpses stretched out towards an ending sun, scorched and black. It reaches in and tears your flesh apart as ice cold hands rip into your heart. That's if you've still got one that's left. Inside that cave you call a chest, and after seeing what we saw, can we still reclaim our innocence? And if the world needs something better, let's give them one more reason now. This broken city sky, like butane on my skin, stolen from my eyes. Hello, angel, tell me where are you? Tell me where we go from here. This broken city sky, like butane on my skin, stolen from my eyes. Hello, angel, tell me where are you? Tell me where we go from here. Tell me we go from here. So this song became part of their first album, I Brought You My Bullets, You Brought Me Your Love, in 2002. Fans kind of have renamed this Bullets, shortened it to make it easy. And this was fast, violent, and poetic, like a vampire Western told through distortion. What's really interesting, and even as we read the lyrics of the first song, this was produced by Jeff Rickley of Thursday. And if you remember the episode that we did on Thursday as a deep dive, Thursday was also kind of born out of New Jersey, kind of part of that northeastern emo wave that was happening. And they are one of the most influential bands for the bands of the 2000s. And you can tell that Gerard really pulled from inspiration from Thursday, even with their lyrics and the style of this album. If you have not taken time to go through Thursday and their older music and just like really understanding their role in the emo space, do it, especially if you are going to go to the New Jersey show. I'm really sad, but Thursday is opening, and that is a huge deal because of the influence that Thursday had on Gerard and MCR, but also how Jeff Rickley was such an integral part of the band's success from the very beginning. It's a very special relationship. So Jeff Rickley produced the album, and it quickly gained underground traction. I'm sure Jeff's influence in that space helped. Gerard's voice cracked and soared as he told tales of doomed lovers, burning buildings, and vengeance. It was emo meeting horror punk. Not pretty, but very personal and vulnerable. In a Kerrang interview in 2004, Gerard said, "It felt like purging something dark. That album was a confession. It feels that way." This is still, I mean, I love all of their albums separately. I think they exist so beautifully on their own, but I really love this first album because it is, again, very raw and very like emo core of that time. Demolition Lovers is another major song on this album, and it serves as the album's closing track. It's a 6-minute long punk rock ballad that goes through several different moments throughout its runtime. So, lyrically, it tells a story of two lovers that go on a crime spree and ultimately meet their demise in a desert. Many describe this as an ode to Bonnie and Clyde. Look in the lyrics, hand in mine into your icy blues. And then I'd say to you, we could take the highway with this trunk of ammunition too. I'd end my days with you in a hail of bullets. I'm trying to let you know just how much you mean to me. And after all the things we put each other through, and I would drive on to the end with you. A liquor store or two keeps the gas tank full, and I feel like there's nothing left to do but prove myself to you, and we'll keep it running. But this time, I mean it. I'll let you know just how much you mean to me. As snow falls on desert sky until the end of everything, I'm trying to let you know just how much you mean. As days fade and nights grow and we grow cold. Until the end, until this pool of blood, until this, I mean this, until the end of. I'm trying to let you know just how much you mean. As days fade and nights grow and we grow cold, but this time we'll show them all how much we mean. As snow falls on desert sky until the end of every. All we are is bullets. I mean this. As lead rains will pass on through, our phantoms forever, forever, like scarecrows that fuel this flame, we're burning forever and ever. Know how much I want to show you. You're the only one. Like a bed of roses, there's a dozen reasons in this gun. And as we're falling down and in this pool of blood, and as we're touching hands, and as we're falling down, and in this pool of blood, and as we're falling down, I'll see your eyes. And in this pool of blood, I'll meet your eyes. I mean this forever. So in 2004, a couple of years later, they brought us 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge. You can see here, which was then named, shortened, 3 Cheers. This came with a funeral march that would change the scene forever. They were already gaining traction. This is what brought them from the underground into the limelight. As you'll also recall, as we talked through the emo waves, the height of that third wave of emo was in this mid-2000 period, right? Around 2004 to 2006, like that wave really hit the height and then exploded before it kind of drifted down for a bit. And so this was right at the cusp of that explosion. So this album was bigger, cleaner, considered deadlier. Helena, one of the biggest songs on this album, is a tribute to the Way's late grandmother, and it hit in TV like a black lace bombshell. The music video is still immortalized by the actress who plays Helena, still doing cosplay meetups in the iconic Emmanuel Presbyterian Church in Los Angeles, where the music video was filmed. This is something that you see every Halloween in these spaces. The couple, Helena, like everything that's happening throughout the song, through the music video, is a huge part of the scene and emo culture of the early 2000s. Another song that quickly became an anthem for every kid who didn't fit in is I'm Not Okay, I Promise. And with that, a high school rom-com parody of a music video that still slaps today. When we look at this era and time and why music videos were so important. And My Chemical Romance was one of the bands at the time that just really leaned in to creating music videos that told even their own story outside of the music itself. That's, I believe, why they became so popular at the time. Whereas a lot of the emo bands that did become popular were in that same world, creating music videos and putting them out. This was an era of time where music videos were the way that many of us discovered music. This was pre streaming. And so the best way that we could learn new music was either from the radio, which was not always accessible to everybody or available for new music that we wanted. But another way was through music videos on things like MTV, TRL. We would get up on Saturday mornings and there would be the top 10 music videos of the week. And that's how you learned a lot of new songs. And a lot of times there was a crossing of genres that were available through these charts of music videos. This was also when like the internet was becoming available, right? And so YouTube was the thing. This is also around MySpace era where you could, like, bands could post their music videos. And so music videos were a great way for us to experience music. And it really led to fandoms that previously, like, you had seen, right? There was definitely fandoms of bands that came before, but the fandoms of the bands in the 2000s is very different and unique. And we see this across all genres. And I believe that music videos are a huge part of that because it created, again, an aesthetic, a story, a sub storyline, or even culture within the music itself. And My Chemical Romance definitely leaned into it with this album with Helena and I'm Not Okay specifically. If you haven't watched either of those music videos, or you haven't revisited them in a long time, go do it. It's interesting to see and still very iconic. So Mikey Way, in an interview looking back on the revenge era, he said, "Revenge was all about going to hell and back for someone you love. It's comic booky, but it's about real grief, kind of what they did best." So what about the album's lore? This is where a man makes a deal with the devil to bring his lover back from the dead, and he must kill 1,000 evil men. So it's gothic, brutal, beautiful. Fans were obsessed with it. Many fans believed that this may have been connected to Demolition Lovers. Like maybe this is the Lovers kind of continued story. I believe that there were some like secret messages that connected the two. It's hard to find a lot of information exactly on what those beliefs were, but that was part of it, especially leaning into Helena. So looking at the Helena lyrics, long ago, just like the hearse you died to get in again, we are so far from you, burning on, just like the match you strike to incinerate the lives of everyone you know. And what's the worst you take from every heart you break? And like the blade you'll stain, well, I've been holding on tonight. What's the worst that I can say? Things are better if I stay. So long and good night. Came a time when every starfall brought you to tears again. We are the very hurt you sold. And what's the worst you take from every heart you break? And like a blade you'll stain, well, I've been holding on tonight. What's the worst that I can say? Things are better if I stay. So long and good night. Well, if you carry on this way, things are better if I stay. So long and good night. Can you hear me? Are you near me? Can we pretend to leave and then we'll meet again? When both our cars collide, what's the worst that I can say? Things are better if I stay. So long and good night. And if you carry on this way, things are better if I stay. So long and good night. This was the era where fans started wearing red ties and black suits to shows, the MCR uniform of the time, red eyeshadow. And this is where the band truly hit their spotlight and became an iconic band with a cult following in the early 2000s. So a couple of years later, we move into the Black Parade, the magnum opus, the funeral turned carnival turned operatic emo rock explosion. Gerard reflected back on this time in a interview, and he said, "We became the Black Parade because we needed to become something bigger than ourselves. We wanted to be Queen meets the Smashing Pumpkins meets Pink Floyd, but with their own story." So this is where they took things a step further. Gerard really leaned into his comic book skills, right? And they created an entire universe and storyline for this era of time in this album. So the album follows the patient, which is a man dying of cancer, reliving his life, sins, and regrets. So we have songs like Welcome to the Black Parade, Cancer, and Famous Last Words. Through this, the world that the patient is in is drag or drog, as we're seeing in the tour currently. And the Black Parade is not My Chemical Romance. They are a separate band as part of this world. And they are in full costume throughout the entire tour. So Gerard was the skeletal ringmaster, and then the band were in marching uniforms. So very theatrical. Kind of a backstory, because we're going to get into the Black Parade in our next episode a bit more, but a backstory of this album specifically. My Chemical Romance wrote it and recorded it primarily in the Paramore Mansion in Los Angeles. The band members described the mansion as spooky and unsettling, some experiencing night terrors and paranormal occurrences during their stay. So they really wanted to lean into that, but it was also really challenging mentally, emotionally, even physically. And for Mikey Way, this became too much, and he actually briefly left, not necessarily was leaving the band to never come back, but took a step back, took a break because of his mental health. So already not in the best place. But with the writing, creating of this album, them being in the spotlight, touring, all the stuff, he needed a break. And that actually led Gerard to write Famous Last Words, my favorite song of all time from MCR. The lyrics: "Now I know that I can't make you stay, but where's your heart? And I know there's nothing I can say to change that part. So many bright lights, they cast a shadow, but can I speak? Well, is it hard understanding? I'm incomplete. A life that's so demanding, I get so weak. A love that's so demanding, I can't speak. I am not afraid to keep on living. I am not afraid to walk this world alone. Honey, if you stay, I'll be forgiven. Nothing you can say can stop me going home. Can you see my eyes are shining bright? 'Cause I'm out here on the other side of a jet black hotel mirror and I'm so weak. Is it hard understanding I'm incomplete? A love that's so demanding, I get so weak. I am not afraid to keep on living. I am not afraid to walk this world alone. Honey, if you stay, I'll be forgiven. Nothing you can say can stop me going home. I am not afraid to keep on living. I am not afraid to walk this world alone. Honey, if you stay, I'll be forgiven. Nothing you can say can stop me going home. These bright lights have always blinded me. These bright lights have always blinded me. I say, I see you lying next to me. With words I thought I'd never speak, awake and unafraid, asleep or dead. 'Cause I see you lying next to me. With words I thought I'd never speak, awake and unafraid, asleep or dead. So some believed with the Black Parade that the patient represented Gerard himself, or even the death of MCR as we knew them to be. Some speculated that every music video, the music videos were also very iconic. Welcome to the Black Parade itself is one of the most iconic music videos, I believe, of the entire 2000s era. They believed it was linked to a secret narrative arc. This is where the fandom of it all got very deep. And the band members were actually pretty private. So there wasn't a lot that was shared, which allowed the curiosities and the band members themselves to run wild with the theories that they had. This is also where, when we've talked about like periods of time, this is where fandoms like could share theories. Like we had Live Journal, like we had different chat rooms. Like there was access to each other around this time, not quite the way we have it today, but it was available. And so fan lore, theories, stories, all of that could be shared more in depth. So with the end of the Black Parade, and again, we're going to get into this in more depth in the next episode, but the band kind of died, supposedly, at the end of this era. And they burned in flames and they were thought to be dead. The Black Parade was over, leading to the next era of My Chemical Romance in 2010, which was Danger Days. So the band wanted to break out of the darkness. So they put on their neon hair and they created Danger Days. This was set in a dystopian 2019 California where a corporation, Better Living Industries or Blind, controls and suppresses individuality. So the album follows the Killjoys, which are 4 outlaws who rebel against Blind and fight for the freedom and self-expression. A more detailed look at the story overall. So we're set in a post-apocalyptic desert-like landscape surrounding a city called Battery City, which you'll hear through some of the music, that was ruled by Blind. The band members transform into the Killjoys. So we have Party Poison, Jetstar, Fun Ghoul, and the Cobra Kid. These are those rebels fighting against the oppressive regime. Blind is the corporation that uses mind control and surveillance to enforce conformity and stifle individuality. So they're the antagonists of the story. Dr. Death Defying is a pirate radio DJ who guides the Killjoys and other rebels through the airwaves. And then we have the girl, a mysterious young girl who is rescued by the Killjoys. In music videos, she's captured by Corse, the leader of Blind, and then later rescued by the Killjoys, who ultimately sacrifice themselves for her freedom. So this album explores the themes of rebellion, individuality, dangers of conformity, and the power of art and music as a form of resistance. It also touches on the idea of fighting for what you believe in, even when facing overwhelming odds. So not only was this very, still theatrical in its own way, it also brought a new look. We went from Black Parade, our revenge, I guess that was very red, suits, red ties. Then we went to the Black Parade, which was very much black and white, and the kind of the uniforms that the band members were wearing, marching band style. And then we go into Danger Days, which was bold, bright colors, neon, very much in line with the time, right, of 2010, which was very colors, patterns forward, especially within the scene. It is thought that this was inspired by movies around that time, like Mad Max, Vanishing Point, as well as other comic books and other media. Gerard continued as a comic book writer throughout this time as well, so you can see that. And then looking at Frank Iero, he did an interview later and kind of looked back and said, "We were having fun again. It wasn't about death at this time. It was about fighting to live." So kind of taking on a new era, but also the joy and fun of it all again. This album brought us the iconic tracks Na Na Na, Sing, Bulletproof Heart, Planetary Go, The Kids from Yesterday, Destroya, and one of my favorites, Scarecrow. So we can read the lyrics of mine. Move your body when the sunlight dies. Everybody hide your body from the scarecrow. Everybody hide. Make a wish when your childhood dies. Hear the knock, knock, knock when she cries. We're all alone tonight. Hold your breath when a blackbird flies. Count to 17 and close your eyes. I'll keep you safe inside. He burns my skin. Never mind about the shape I'm in. I'll keep you safe tonight. Yeah, shut up and run with me. Move your body when the sunlight dies. Everybody hide your body from the scarecrow. Everybody hide. Move your body when the sunlight dies. Everybody hide your body from the scarecrow. Everybody hide. Blow a kiss at the methane skies. See the rust through your playground eyes. We're all in love tonight. Leave a dream where the fallout lies. Watch it grow where the tear stain dries. I'll keep you safe tonight. During this time, they also made comic books about the Killjoys, expanding the universe. But behind the scenes, tensions were rising for the band members individually, but also as a collective, leading us to 2013, where the band breaks up. So in March 2013, MCR announced their breakup with a short, clinical blog post, which was very big at the time, right? Right now it would be maybe an Instagram post or something, but blogs were huge in the early 2010s. Fans were devastated. Emo Twitter exploded, and Gerard released a heartfelt letter days later, part of it saying, "My Chemical Romance is done, but it can never die. It is alive in me, in the guys, and it is alive inside all of you." Unfortunately, the band, again, was pretty private, so a lot of the specifics weren't necessarily shared, but fans did speculate on why this was happening. So was it burnout? A lot of bands were burning out. Like they kind of lasted a lot longer than a lot of the bands that were in the early 2000s at the height in this space. Maybe the Danger Days backlash, a lot of people didn't love it, especially coming out of Revenge and the Black Parade eras. Creative differences, even from Gerard's statement, it might seem that he wanted to keep going, maybe others did not, and what they would do next. The truth is more nuanced. From what they shared, they wanted to stop before things got stale, and they wanted to live, not just survive. Now, we're going to do another episode in the future on Gerard specifically, because I do think Gerard Way, as an individual, even outside of MCR, is an iconic figure within the emo space. But a little bit of backstory on him. He had struggled with alcoholism for many years. And it wasn't until he was plotting suicide in 2004, and even admitting to doing cocaine, that his bandmates decided that changes needed to happen. They helped intervene, and he decided to go sober in only 17 days. So went sober, cold turkey, and he became sober in August of 2004. He relapsed in 2011 and then sobered up after the band broke up in 2013. So he talked about this and admitted it in an interview. "When I look back at Danger Days, I see a man who had turned back to drugs and alcohol and was starving himself to death. As much as I hate to admit it, those white jeans from Na 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 were way too small for me. I knew it wouldn't get any better, and I think it was just a good option for the band to split up." In a more recent years following that issue in Spin magazine, he said that having become a happier person and feeling more in control, he has been able to enjoy life much more. So maybe there was something related to that as well, where Gerard needed this break. So possibly a part of it. But that is not where the story ends for My Chemical Romance. After years of whispers, symbols, and rumors, MCR officially reunited in 2019. Tickets for their 2020 tour sold out instantly, but then the pandemic hit. So in 2022, they finally returned to the stage. And then by 2025, we're living in it right now. The Black Parade had risen once more with a global tour celebrating the album's legacy and visuals. Again, we will cover more. We have new fans, old fans, elder emos, their kids. The arenas are packed. In a 2024 interview, Gerard said, "We didn't want to relive the past. We wanted to reimagine it with who we are now. We're older, but we still believe in what we created." So, what is missing in all of this, right? What could have been with this abrupt, seemingly abrupt breakup to when the band hit the stage again, playing their older music? Diehard fans still speculate that there is a so-called MCR5, an unreleased album that some believe was scrapped before the breakup. The entire list of songs had been leaked prior to during the breakup. And many fans believed that the videos and the teasers for the 2025 tour were all hinting at this album being released, because the fans were picking it all apart and notice how many symbols within the teasers aligned with the tracks of the list that was leaked previously. To kind of confirm this theory or fuel it even more, MCR did play an unreleased track from this alleged album during their LA Night One show last month. It was called War Beneath the Rain. Gerard introduced the song saying, I don't remember how long ago it was, but before the band broke up, we had a studio in North Hollywood and we were making a record that never came out. This was one of the songs we really loved from it. It was just us in the studio with our friend Doug McKean. He was there recording it. His family's here tonight. I want this to go out to them. So were they singing this and sharing it as a precursor to the album that was never released that now we may get before the tour is over? Or was it simply a tribute to Doug because his family was there? We may never know. But War Beneath the Rain, now we know it, is a powerful rock ballad about memory and fate. Between slow melodic verses, Way bellows out a chorus singing, if we all learn to die, can most of us forget that we're not waiting for the end? We don't care about the bad things we did. Maybe me and you can just pretend. So maybe there will be a new album. This is one of the first things that's been released since, it is the first thing since Danger Days, truly. So is it coming? We shall see. Gerard said in 2003 on Instagram, there are always more stories to tell. Some are songs, some are pictures, some just haven't found their form yet. So what will happen? Only time will truly tell. But I look forward to it. And next week, we are going to do a deep dive into the Black Parade. We have a special guest. It's going to help share some of the lore and talk about this even more. So maybe we will all be speculating of what's to come after that episode. And then I go to Philly and see and experience my Kim for myself. Outside of when we were young, I did experience that in 2024. They did do the Black Parade then, and it was almost like the patient experience. So it was very much like a patient, like hospital room, like with the sheets around. The band was just in black, no costumes. The tour now they are in costumes. So maybe they weren't the Black Parade, but now they are the Black Parade. We don't know. But we'll talk about that in the next episode. And then I will fully recap what happened, because we have New Jersey, which everything we saw in the LA shows was wild. I can only imagine New Jersey's going to bring even more layers to the story. And then we'll have Philly, which is where I'll be seeing them. And that may bring more, I hope. I'm very hopeful for an exciting show there. And then we'll have a lot to talk about. And then maybe we'll have our next episode. I think we could probably go into each of these eras in the future and just kind of dig into some of the lore behind it, bring other people on to talk about it who were like really deeply part of it at the time. So if that is you and you are dying to share some things that we did not get to or deeper conversations, please check out the show notes, email me, be on the podcast. I would love to have you so that you can share that with all of us. So thank you for tuning in. If you haven't already, subscribe, means a lot, and leave a review, positive, please. And then I will see you in our next class as we dig in to the Black Parade.